Donald Trump suggests that China assassinate the leader of North Korea. And there's something crazy going on Wall Street and with the price of gold. We'll talk about that. I'm Randall Terry. And by the way, it affects you and I. This is the voice of resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
The proverb says, "The wise man sees danger approaching and prepares for it. The fool passes on and suffers for it." So the wise man has got his eye to the horizon. He's looking to see what's going on. Now, when the proverb was written, there was no telephone, there was no internet, there was no television, there was no radio. There was barely, no, there wasn't even paper. There was vellum. Do you know what vellum is? It's sheepskins, goat skins, where they would write their messages. So, juxtapose that, the wise man sees danger approaching, keeping your eye on the horizon, with proven medical facts that too much news makes a very large portion of the populace anxious. The addiction that we have to our devices, our godless devices as I call them, it's causing severe emotional and in some places health problems, physical health problems because of lack of exercise. Not to mention the breakdown in relationships. So somebody like me, I'll be honest with you, I find myself between a rock and a hard place, as they say. I hate our godless devices. Here's one right here. I'll show you this one. This is my laptop, my godless device. Here is my iPhone, my godless device. These things that buzz and beep and you're sitting at the table and someone's texting. I don't care if anyone is texting. So, because I do a TV show that focuses a lot on news, I have to watch the news. And sometimes I'm sated. I've just had it. I don't want anymore. I don't want to hear it. And so I get it. I get that a lot of my viewers, in fact, watch very little news. If they want the news, they come to a program like mine, maybe a handful of others, and they listen, figure, well, if something's really important, Randall will tell us. And I respect that. I understand it. But some of us need to strike just a whisker better balance. Because when the wise man seeing danger approaching would have generally meant that it was in his immediate area, okay? Or that it was some bit of local international news, Israel borders Jordan, and people would have had their ear to the ground. Now we're dealing with the price of crude oil coming out of OPEC. We're dealing with China dumping their goods here to try and devalue our dollar. We're dealing with Russia, who has the largest oil reserves on the planet right now and controls most of the gas natural gas that goes to Europe, about 90%. Well, how do all these things impact me? Because so much of our economy is tied to the economies of other countries. Most of our stuff that lines the aisles of Walmart comes from China. So if we get in a trade war with China, we could see the cost of our circuses at least go up. Not our bread, all right? Most of our food supply is still from America, or at least this hemisphere. We do get a lot of fruit and vegetables south of the border, but very little of our food that is needed for sustenance, for our daily bread, very little comes from overseas. Yes, caviar, but anyway. So, all of that to say, there's something crazy going on Wall Street right now. As of the filming of this show, the Dow is down at about 400 points, and gold has jumped about 5% in its value. And this is before noon, okay, on this day. So that signals a sell-off, a significant sell-off, and people moving their money into gold. Well, how does that impact me, Randall? Well, it's very simple. Number one, if you've got money tied up in various investment funds, and we've seen the Dow lose, what is it, almost 2,000 points since the beginning of the year, the end of last year, some astronomical number. Well, that means the net worth of the viewers of this show or other people is going down rapidly. I had a donor, one of the people who actually is a sponsor of this show, call me yesterday. He's on an auto debit with his credit card. And he said, Randall, I'm really sorry. I've lost a fortune on the stock market in the last 2 months, and I can't keep going. I said, no problem, no problem. So we talked for a little bit. So it impacted me. If you work at a store where people use some of what they call expendable income and they don't feel that they have as much income that they can spend, it's going to impact you because people begin to panic. I've got to take a break. When we come back, I want to, don't worry, I'm going to talk about Donald Trump, but I want to give you just a whisker of advice, just a whisker, and I don't sell anything at all that I'm about to advise you on. I have no interest other than your welfare. I'll be right back. Thanks to friends like you, we have state-of-the-art cameras and state-of-the-art teleprompters and state-of-the-art gear here in the studio. We have one big need, however. We have not yet been able to upgrade our computers. The computers that we use for a television broadcast or to create a documentary are not like the kind that you can just go buy at Best Buy. They are expensive because it takes so much horsepower to create TV series and or documentaries. So I'm asking you, if you want to see this show grow and you want to see us finish the What Would Muhammad Do series, help us get these computers. 3 computers. For some people, and for others they're different. Let's talk about immediate. Immediate is, I have to have food. I have to be able to eat. I have to have heat, so I have to be able to pay my heat bill. So we're talking about the immediacy of needs, of human shelter, human sustenance, human clothing. And there are a large number of Americans who literally go week to week. Literally go week to week. Heaven knows how many millions of senior citizens are on a Social Security check and go month to month buying their groceries. So some of you are in that situation. For the people who live in the immediacy, I have this recommendation. Take some of your money every month and buy 1 or 2 or 6 or 10 different canned goods or dry goods that will last, such as rice, all right, that will last more than a year. Rice and beans. Half of the world gets its daily proper protein from rice and beans. At least that's the number that used to exist. Maybe it's a little higher, a little bit lower now, but it's a substantial number. Rice and beans. Rice and beans can keep someone alive and healthy. Rice and beans with a few spices is actually quite tasty. When I went to Bible school, I studied to be a missionary. That was a lifetime ago. But I spent a lot of time in Latin America learning to really love rice and beans. There are some ways that rice and beans can be prepared that are quite scrumptious. So you'll notice that there are a lot of survival companies that are out there right now selling dried goods that will last 15 or 20 years. And they're doing a service, they're making a profit, but you can buy rice and beans, even if you're on a fixed income. You can buy things that could keep you alive for a month or 2 months if all hell breaks loose and there's a real problem that's within your budget. So I know that it might sound crazy. I don't sell any of this stuff, but it's not crazy, because if the price of gas, which is collapsing right now, does a complete turnaround and goes through the roof, or if there's some type of economic chaos that comes, well, how could it happen? Well, it happened here before. You've heard of the Great Depression, right? If anything like that happens, you would be prudent to have a certain amount of canned goods and dried goods that could keep you and those you love alive. All right? Enough on that. Next is investment. What I mean by that is I bought 100 ounces of silver at $13 an ounce, and it went up to $26 an ounce, and I sold it, and I doubled my money. I made an investment, and I had a return on an investment that I'm very happy about. Okay? My wife and I, by little bits of silver here and there, we're doing it for the future, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But if you have a little bit of expendable income, if you want, there's gamblers watching this program right now. You've got money in the stock market. You might want to take some of that and put it into silver, which is at a historic low. Not total historic, that was not accurate. What I mean is this. Silver and gold for centuries traded at around a 15-to-1 or 16-to-1 ratio. So whatever an ounce of silver costs, it would take you 15 ounces or 16 ounces of silver to buy it. Right now, as of the close of yesterday, silver was at a 78, gold and silver were at a 78 to 1 ratio with each other. 78 ounces of silver required to buy 1 ounce of gold. So if you think that it could ever come back to its historic trading rate of 15-to-1, silver is a bargain. It's a bargain. Because if silver was trading 15-to-1 right now, silver would be worth about it'd be worth about, what? I don't want to do the math on the fly. 8 times what it's worth right now? 7 times? So all of that to say, silver is at a bargain price right now. And if you want to take some of your money, buy 100 ounces, 200, 300 ounces of silver. Because chances are it is going to go up. And if gold keeps jumping up, silver is going to be dragged along with it up. I got to take a break. One more thing when I come back. Don't go away. Christians must be involved in government, period. If Christians weren't involved in government, we would not have a United States of America. And there have been brilliant Christian minds over the centuries, such as John Locke, who is called the philosopher of American liberty. He was quoted by Clarence Thomas in his recent dissent on the homosexual marriage decision. If we don't understand John Locke, we don't understand the founding of America. I want to send you this book and my book, The Sword, subtitled The Blessing of Righteous Government and The Overthrow of Tyrants. I want to send you these 2 books for a gift of whatever you can afford. Pay the $8 shipping and handling, which does not cover our costs, and then give a gift of whatever size you want, and we'll send you these books. If you cannot afford anything but the $8, can't even afford that, write us a note, and we'll send them to you for free. I want you to have these books so that you can be better equipped to fight in the political arena. Come on, order them today. It took me 14 years to write it. 4 rewrites, countless edits. I poured my heart and soul into Dragon Slayers. At points a very inspiring and painful book to write. I encourage you to go to our website and look at the reviews that we have gotten from readers of this book, and then avail yourself. It's an allegory, and I promise you, you'll be inspired. It's the fine line between fear and wisdom. In other words, having life insurance for your family. Part of that is based on wisdom. Part of it is based on fear. I feared that if I died young, that my family would be in want. So therefore, because I want to be wise, I get life insurance. The wise man sees danger approaching and prepares for it. The fool passes on and suffers. By the way, I'm not one of those people that thinks that the American economy is going to collapse. And one of the reasons is because, for the time being, the dollar is still the reserve currency of the world. The entire world economy would have to go into chaos, which it could, for the dollar to become useless. And if that happens, all bets are off. So one thing that makes me happy and keeps me from being afraid is that we are the breadbasket of the world still to this day, all right? Because at the end of the day, what matters is, can I feed my family? Our clothes are going to continue. Our houses aren't going to fall in, all right? So we have to be careful. And if there's not gas around, so we stay home for a while. I mean, I'm not trying to be a fearmonger here, but I am saying, especially for people on fixed incomes, on the short run, have dried goods aside. If you're an investor, you might want to take a look at silver. And for the long run, for retirement, what do you have? You can have money, you can have cash, you can have precious metals. And there are people who do that, so enough. I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling anything. But I do worry for my brothers and my sisters in Christ. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a break. I'll give you one other lesson that this will help you before I take a break. This is a vocabulary lesson. Because if you start to delve into money, you're going to hear the phrase fiat money. Fiat money. Fiat money is money that is paper money, and it's not anchored to anything of real value. So up until the last 100 years, money was silver and gold primarily. Copper a little bit, brass a little bit, but silver and gold, real money. It's not fiat money. It's not made by decree. Monopoly and the US dollar, the difference between them is monopoly is play money, but people will accept, based on confidence, this piece of paper. And when the confidence of this piece of paper, a greenback, when the confidence in that piece of paper goes away, then the value of that piece of paper goes away. Okay? Like continental dollars, or like paper money from the South, or like the Deutschmark after the collapse of Germany and after World War I. There have been times historically where paper money became of very little or no value because the confidence in it was gone, or the ability of a government to back it up was gone, such as in the Confederacy. I apologize if this is a bore to you and you're ready to flip away. Don't change the channel. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to show a clip of Donald Trump talking about assassinating the leader of North Korea, and the Republican primary is really heating up, and oh my goodness, even some of the moderates are jumping on the bandwagon. We were leading the way early. I can see what's going on out there. I don't like it. Friend, this TV show represents a mission. It's to be a voice of resistance to the evil in the land, but also to inspire people like you to take a stand at any level that you might be able to equip you, to inspire you, to challenge you, to give you the rhetorical ammunition that you need. But we still have to pay bills. This program, as you know if you're a regular viewer, we don't spend a lot of time raising money. We don't spend a lot of time saying, oh, you need to buy this and we're going to run. No, we're bringing you a message, but we still have bills that we need to pay. I'm asking you, if you have been blessed by this show, to please go to our website or send a check to the address you see on the screen, or call the phone number that you see on the screen and use your credit card, and to give $50 or $100 or $500 just to help us meet our normal expenses. And we'll keep bringing you this hard-hitting show. I have been a leader in the pro-life movement for 30 years. And sadly, we have not prevailed in our goal to make it a criminal act to kill an unborn baby. There's reasons why we have failed. I wrote this book, A Humble Plea, to Catholic bishops, to evangelical clergy, and to lay people, explaining where we went wrong and what we have to do to prevail. We've made this available as a PDF online for free. I encourage you to go and download your own copy. Carly Fiorina, she's out. Chris Christie, he's out. I told you last night that they were both going to go. I think Ben Carson, who is not out yet, has made the right decision to stay in at least through South Carolina because he has a significant base of support there, far more than he would have had in New Hampshire. And, well, we'll take a look at Rubio and Bush as we go on. We'll talk more about politics tomorrow. Donald Trump made big news by suggesting that the Chinese assassinate the leader of North Korea. Let's play that tape.
Yesterday we heard, we get here on the Middle East in a moment, but first, yesterday we heard the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, at Congress saying that North Korea's nuclear effort is the top threat to the United States. What would you do to deal with that reclusive country?
I would get China to make that guy disappear in one form or another very quickly. And let me tell you, people say,
how do you make him disappear and assassinate him?
Let me just tell you, no, well, you know, I've heard of worse things, frankly. I mean, this guy's a bad dude, and don't underestimate him. Any young guy can take over from his father with all those generals and everybody else that probably want the position. This is not somebody to be underestimated.
But why
China has control.
I'll
tell you why. Because China has control, absolute control of North Korea. They don't say it, but they do. And they should make that problem disappear. China is sucking us dry. They're taking our money. They're taking our jobs. They're doing so much. We have rebuilt China with what they've taken out. We have power over China. China should do that. Now,
we
Iran,
can force the Chinese to take care of North Korea?
I would force the Chinese to do it economically.
Oh.
Economically, Charlie. They're sucking the money out of us. We have a trade deficit this year with China, $500 billion. They're taking money out of our country. They're taking our jobs.
They hold all our debt, too.
Well, you know what? I mean, we owe them. Think of it. They take our money, they take our jobs, they take our base, and guess what we owe? Okay. We owe them $1.7 trillion, okay? But we have a lot of power over China. Don't underestimate it.
So there are people who are pundits who literally just hate this man, hate him. You don't want immigrants coming in? Build a wall. You don't like Muslims? Put a temporary ban on them. They're just bad. They're not bad. They're angry people. They're mad at Trump because he speaks forcefully, clearly. We're going to take the oil from the Middle East. We'll kick ISIS butt and we'll take the oil. And then he says the Chinese should assassinate. That's what he's saying. I mean, come on. They should make this guy disappear. China's not going to assassinate the leader of North Korea, okay? China is not going to assassinate the leader of North Korea, even if it wanted to. You know why? Because other countries that have strong ties to China, especially in the Pacific Rim, where China is trying to create a new hegemony, it's trying to become the leader of the Pacific Rim, they're thinking, I could be next. What if the Chinese decide they want to assassinate me? So if the threat is against us, well, then we might consider assassinating the leader of North Korea, our political leadership. I believe it was President Carter who issued a directive that there would be no more U.S.-sponsored assassinations of foreign powers. It's a law that could be changed. All right. The reason that Trump says this stuff and gets away with it is because there's a visceral reaction with a large part of the voting populace who feel betrayed, who feel like, yeah, why haven't we got a border? Why are they taking our jobs? Why do we keep letting Muslims in when we know some of them want to kill us? And so these elites in D.C. and in New York who are completely out of touch with the voting populace, they just don't get it. I'll tell you, Trump makes me nervous on some levels, makes me excited on other levels, but I'll tell you one thing, I get it. I get it. That's why I'm happy that he's pounding the crud out of the Republican establishment.
you.